Speaker of the House, Beth Harwell, joins us on the broadcast this morning. Beth, thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you. Good to be with you.
The state of the state last night. The first thing I want to know from you is just your broad general reaction to the governor's second State of the State address.
I thought it was a positive, upbeat message for all Tennessee that we're on the right path and we can do things even better.
Yeah, we can get better. Very aggressive, though, package of legislation. There's a lot in there. One of the things he talked about in this package of legislation that I wanted to ask you about was he said, I urge the legislature to deal with this Amazon issue and get it done. I understand that the window is now to May, trying to have a shorter session to get it all done. Can you talk me through what has to happen to get the Amazon legislation passed?
Well, I think first and foremost, Congress needs to take action on what I see as the fair market place or Main Street piece of legislation. In other words, we've got to stop this idea that instead of going to Mr. McCall's furniture store in Carthage, they can go online and buy it and not have to pay taxes. What's fair about that to that small business owner in Carthage, Tennessee? And until we solve that issue, it's going to be hard for us to do here in Tennessee, and that has to be done at the federal level. So I encourage all of your constituents to encourage Congress to just make it fair to our hometown marketplace. And it's not just books; it's everything. You can go online and buy it, and you don't have to pay the sales tax. And we got to make that an equal playing field for our businesses here in Tennessee.
So you think this it'll be difficult getting it through the House?
I do. Because in Congress, it's just. I'm not trying to be ugly, but they've just proven themselves somewhat inept at getting anything done. And I just really would like to see this happen because I think it really is a question of equity to our small business owners here in Tennessee and really how state government collects taxes.
Wow. So will you guys here in the state of Tennessee not move until Washington moves on this?
Well, I'm going to defer to the governor on that. It's his shot. We've worked with Amazon. I tell you what, I really admire this administration for inheriting a deal, really, with Amazon that wasn't best for the state of Tennessee. From the previous administration, they were just simply not going to pay taxes ever to the state. And at least this administration has gone back in and renegotiated that situation so that there's a 3-year window in which there won't be taxes, but after that, they will be.
All right, so let's talk about the rest of the state address. Revenues are up. We added 29,000 jobs. Unemployment is down in the state of Tennessee, $4 billion in investment, a lot of work on education. Like I said, a big package. How much of this do you see passing? As you looked at it last night, were you able to pull back as speaker and say, these 3 things I believe are going to move fairly quickly? You might have some pushback on 2 or 3 things, and I'm sure you're in those conversations with the governor, who will be here in just a couple of minutes. Can you give me kind of any insight into the legislative calendar and what will go fast and what will go slow?
Well, I'm hoping that the budget this year is on target to move at a much faster pace than it did last year. I mean, I really commend my chairman of finance. He's already got all of his budget hearings lined up. They're already on calendar. Obviously the budget is the most critical thing that we do. If we didn't do anything else, we just have to balance the budget every year. I think most of the governor's proposals, some of the tax relief that he offers in the form of food tax reduction and the death tax reduction, I think they will fly through the legislature. I'm hoping so anyway. And we'll have a few issues that will take more discussion and debate. Some of the things the governor wants to do in education, giving more flexibility to local systems, that's going to receive a lot of discussion in the General Assembly. But that's the proper role of the legislature. So I'm not critical of that process at all.
I asked Ron Ramsey this last night. The governor has presented his legislative package, his vision of what needs to be done this legislative session so that we can do better, so the state can do more. As Speaker, though, do you have your legislative package and maybe a couple of priorities that you have marked where you say, well, thank you, Governor, we'll consider yours. Now, as a body speaking for the people, these are the things that we think are our top 3 things we've got to get done this legislative session beyond the budget.
Well, we're blessed this year in that we have a Republican governor whose agenda really mirrors the agenda that the House Republican caucus has had for some time. We have always wanted to bring reform to our education system. The governor is right on task on that. It has been my personal piece of legislation I've introduced almost every year that I've been in the General Assembly to lower or eliminate the death tax. The governor has adopted that as something he will help push through, and with his help we can get it done. It's very hard to do it without the administration's help, which has been the case in previous administrations. So, I'm blessed in that we have a governor that is in line with what the Republican caucus has wanted to do for some time now. Now, that doesn't mean our individual legislators won't have legislation that they hear from their constituents they want. We have over 3,000 bills in the system right now. So obviously we're going to have some ideas a little different than the governor's agenda, but I don't think anyone is opposed to what the governor's trying to do. If anything, I think he has a lot of support within the caucus.
I know you've been around a good while. I've been to, I think now 20 of these State of the State addresses, and I've been in that chamber in years where $1 billion had to be cut and people were holding their breath. It sure felt different last night, didn't it?
Oh, boy. It really did. You're absolutely right. And, I have to say, this governor has been blessed. Previous administrations have not been so blessed. The economy is turning. It's rebounding. And I will also say that I'm very impressed. We say what we want about the governor. It is the legislative branch that ultimately passes that budget. And we should never take for granted in the state of Tennessee that we have a balanced budget. That does not come easily. There have been plenty of times now, even as Speaker, I've had to call Republican colleagues who've been very supportive of me for the Speaker's race and had to say, sorry, we can't fund your project for your home district. That never feels good, but that's the tough decisions that have to be made in order to balance that budget every year. You can be the public at large can be very impressed with the integrity of the quality of people that serve in the General Assembly on both sides of the aisle that get that done every year. That's not something to take lightly or take for granted. But you're right, revenues are rebounding here in the state of Tennessee. We're in a much better shape. But part of that, I have to give credit to previous administrations, previous legislative assemblies that have never let us go into large amounts of debt, and we've paid as we've gone, and I'm proud of Tennessee for that.
Wow. I'm looking at a picture of you holding the gavel. You've got the gavel, Madam Speaker. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.